of the city since the days of the gold rush.
This is where the original film started, right here about 8th Street.
Right here is where the past comes alive, thanks to a camera mounted on the front of a cable car a century ago, catching glimpses of fashion, faces, and the helter-skelter of city traffic, horses, trolley cars, and that new devil's own invention, the motor car.
You can see when people turn to look at the camera, it was really the shock of the new. Can you imagine? Here comes this contraption down the street with these guys hand-cranking this camera furiously.
Others had made films of San Francisco starting in the 1890s, but this cameraman had the good sense to simply turn it on and leave it on.
When you saw that film, what did you make of the people, the newsboys, the cars, the horses, everything all happening at once right there on the track?
Yeah, I mean, you can see that people would circulate wildly, and they're just kind of wandering across the street. You have these huge drays led by teamsters with 4, sometimes 8 horses hauling along.
And it seems, watching the film, that there were absolutely no traffic rules.
It seems like it. It's sort of people, it was optional to stay to the right. But, you know, it seemed to be honored in the breach. People will tell you today that Market Street is still that way.
Looking back a century from the same spot on the same street is an eerie sight. Teddy Roosevelt was president then. Life expectancy was 47 years for men, 50 for women, most of whom still couldn't vote. And no one, man, woman, or child, went out without a hat. The last few blocks of Market Street today, banks and brokers, Wall Street West. A century ago, the wholesale district offering coffee, tea, and spices, a time when a decent salary was $400 a year, a time reborn on film.
It's left us an astonishing record, the likes of which we rarely see. Quality.
Film archivist and historian Rick Prelinger owns the clearest of the 3 surviving copies of the film.
This is over 100 years old, but the image quality is just absolutely excellent.
How fragile is this?
Extremely.
This is a digitally restored, high-definition copy seen here for the first time on television.
What is it that moves us so when we see something like this?
It's uncanny. First off, to see something that's so old, and almost an alternate universe, really. I love when the little kid is in the carriage ahead of the streetcar and opens up that curtain and peeks out. And then at the very, very end, the streetcar turns around and you have a glimpse of newsboys looking at the camera and waving just for a few frames. It dazzles audiences. People applaud this film.